Good evening, one and all. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Well. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are celebrating and commemorating International Day for the Abolition of Slavery on 2nd December. Modern slavery is on the rise. An estimated 50 million people are in modern slavery, including 28 million in forced labor and 22 million in forced marriage. Almost 1 in 8 of all those in forced labor are children. More than half of these are in commercial sex exploitation. Most cases of forced labor, 86% are found in the private sector. Almost 4 out of 5 of those in forced commercial sexual exploitation are women or girls. Latest estimates by the International Labour Organization, ILO in short, show that forced labor and forced marriage have increased significantly in the last 5 years. 10 million more people were in modern slavery in 2021 compared to 2016 global estimates, bringing the total to 50 million worldwide. Women and children remain disproportionately vulnerable. Although modern slavery is not defined in law, it is used as an umbrella term covering practices such as forced labor, debt bondage, forced marriage, and human trafficking. Essentially, it refers to situations of exploitation that a person cannot refuse or leave because of threats, violence, coercion, deception, and or abuse of power. Modern slavery occurs in almost every country in the world and cuts across ethnic, cultural, and religious lines. More than half, that is 52% of all forced labor and a quarter of all forced marriages can be found in upper middle income or high-income countries. ILO has adopted a legally binding protocol designed to strengthen global efforts to eliminate forced labor, which entered into force in November 2016. Global annual profit from forced labor estimated at US dollars 236 billion. The annual global profit generated from forced labor is estimated at dollars US 236 billion. This amount represents wages effectively stolen from workers, particularly affecting those who are already struggling to support their families. For migrant workers, it means less money being sent back home. Additionally, governments lose tax revenue due to illegal nature of these profits, which can also foster further exploitation, empower criminal networks, and undermine the rule of law. The Profits and Poverty Report aims to shed light on these illegal gains. It reveals that the profits are alarming high and have surged over the past decade, driven by an increase in forced labor and higher profits per victim. According to the ILO, there were 27.6 million people in forced labor worldwide in 2021. From 2016 to 2021, the number increased by 2.7 million, mostly due to privately imposed forced labor. To region, no region is exempt from the problem, with Asia and Pacific having the highest number, 15.1 million, followed by Europe and Central Asia, 4.1 million, Africa, 3.8 million, the Americas, 3.6 million, and the Arab states, 0.9 million. However, in terms of prevalence, forced labor is most common in the Arab states, 5.3 per thousand, followed by Europe and Central Asia, 4.4, the Americas and Asia and the Pacific, both 3.5, and Africa, 2.9. Most forced labor takes place in the private sector, with 86% of cases imposed by private sectors, 63% of labor exploitation, and 23% for sexual exploitation. State imposed forced labor accounts for remaining 14%. The main sectors affected are industry, services, agriculture, and domestic work, which together account for 89% of the forced labor cases. There are also smaller sectors such as forced begging and involvement in illegal activities. The International Day of the Abolition of Slavery, 2nd December, marks the date of adoption by the General Assembly of the United Nations Convention for the Suppression of the Traffic in Persons and of the Exploitation of the Prostitution of Others, Resolution 317 of 4 of 2nd December 1949. The focus of this day is on eradicating contemporary forms of slavery such as trafficking in persons, sexual exploitation, the worst forms of child labor, forced marriage, and forced recruitment of children for use in armed conflict. Slavery has evolved and manifested itself in ways throughout the history. Today, some traditional forms of slavery still persist in their earlier forms, while others have been transformed into new ones. The UN human rights bodies have documented the persistence of old forms of slavery that are embedded in traditional beliefs and customs. These forms of slavery are a result of long standing discrimination against the most vulnerable groups in societies, such as in those regarded as being of low caste, tribal minorities, and indigenous peoples. Forced labor. Alongside traditional forms of forced labor, such as bonded labor and debt bondage, there now exist more contemporary forms of forced labor, such as migrant workers who have been trafficked for economic exploitation of every kind in the world economy. Work in domestic servitude, the construction industry, the food and garment industry, the agriculture sector, and in forced prostitution. Child labor. Globally, 1 in 10 children works. The majority of the child labor that occurs today is for economic exploitation. That goes against the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which recognizes the right of the child to be protected from economic exploitation and from pertaining any work that is likely to be hazardous or to interfere with the child's education, to be harmful to the child's health or physical, mental, spiritual, moral, or social development. According to the protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons, especially women and children, trafficking in persons means the recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or receipt of persons by means of the threat or use of the force or other forms of coercion for the purpose of exploitation. Exploitation includes prostitution of others or other forms of sexual exploitation, forced labor or services, slavery or practices similar to slavery, servitude, or the removal of organs. The consent of the person trafficked for exploitation is irrelevant, and if the trafficked person is a child, is a crime even without the use of force. Journalists have a voice that many workers do not. They can shine a light on abusive practices and denial of fundamental and human labor rights. This toolkit for journalists, an ILO toolkit for journalists, provides information and advice to media professionals on how to report accurately and effectively on forced labor and fair recruitment. The toolkit includes the media friendly glossary on migration. These cartoonists from Portugal, Turkey, and Uzbekistan has won top prizes in an international cartoon competition aimed at raising awareness about modern slavery. They were chosen by a panel of judges and general public out of 460 entries from cartoonists in 65 countries who responded to the challenge. What if your pencil was a tool against forced labor? Portuguese cartoonist Gargelo Vasco was awarded the top prize. Today is also commemorated as Assam Divas in India, which is a regional public holiday and celebration in the state of Assam that takes place annually. It commemorates the arrival of the founder and the first king of Ahom Kingdom in the territory of ancient Assam, which is one of the country's largest states with over 30 million people today. Assam Divas is known by several names, including Assam Day, Sukafa Divas, and many others. Assam Divas, also known as Assam Day or Sukafa Divas, celebrates the legacy of the first king of the Ahom Kingdom in Assam and commemorates his arrival in the region in the early 13th century. Chaulang Sukafa, who was a prince from the Thai state of Mong Mao, close to the present day Ruili in Yunnan, China, was forced to migrate after the birth of a cousin blocked his path to his father's throne. And after 13 years on the journey and crossing the Patkal Mountains, he arrived in Namrup in the southeastern of the Indian state of Assam in 1228 and founded the Ahom Kingdom. Sukafa's reign as the king of Ahom Kingdom, who ruled medieval Assam for 600 years and famously resisted other great powers such as Mughals, is considered to be a glorious chapter in the history of Assam. He is widely referred to as the architect of Bor Assam or Greater Assam because of the amicable relationship he developed with the tribal communities living in Assam at the time of his arrival. He was revered for being a strong, courageous, and fearless leader who played a vital role in unifying the various indigenous ethnic groups of Assam. The day is dedicated to honoring his legacy. Assam Divas highlights Assam's rich culture. The celebration begins with beautiful folk music and several indigenous dances like Bagurumba, Bihu dance, and Bochil dance performed by local artists. An award ceremony follows as well as a grand procession organized by authorities. Today is also commemorated as Business of Popping Corn Day in US to celebrate on December 2nd to commemorate the invention of the first large-scale commercial oil popcorn popper by Charles Creators in 1885. His was the first large-scale commercial oil popcorn popper and was invented in 1885, first as a peanut popper. This was due to Charles' discontentment with all the popular peanut poppers available at the time, as confirmed by his great-grandson, who said, "My great-grandfather had a candy store in Decatur, Illinois. He bought a peanut roaster that he didn't like and thought he could do a better job. So he sold everything and moved to Chicago to build a better peanut roaster. When he proceeded to do too, he had a City of Chicago peddler's license dated 1885, and that's how he we date the start of the company. In the 19th century, most people made popcorn by holding long handled wire boxes filled with kernels over fires, although effective for home consumption, were inadequate for commercial purposes. It was creators' machines invented through this through his Creators and Company in 1885 that soon made it practical for people to get into the business of popping corn. Creators powered his popcorn machine with steam engine, allowing for automation. The steam was created by a fire under a broiler and powered the small engine, which in turn moved gear shaft and an agitator, stirring the kernels. The fresh popcorn was caught in a storage bin. Additionally, steam was diverted to a whistle, which caught the attention of customers. Today is also commemorated as Chatham Islands Anniversary Day, New Zealand, which is celebrated each year on Monday closest to November 30, and this year takes place on December 2nd. It is a day observed in Chatham Islands territory in New Zealand, where it is holiday, and around 10 islands in Chatham Islands territory that lie 500 miles to the east of New Zealand. The islands have been part of New Zealand since 1842. On the Monday of the anniversary, businesses, offices, and schools remain shut. The general population celebrates the anniversary with these parades, carnivals, and islanders catching up with each other. It is one of the long held observations in New Zealand. Today is also commemorated as Cyber Monday in US, which is celebrated on the Monday after Thanksgiving weekend. Established in 2005, Cyber Monday is the internet's answer to brick and mortar holiday shopping. Unlike Black Friday, Cyber Monday gives you the chance to shop those amazing Black Friday deals from the comfort of your couch or office. Cyber Monday was invented in 2005 by Ellen Davis, the president of the National Retail Foundation. Data had shown that the Monday after Thanksgiving was experiencing higher than usual traffic for retail shopping while individuals were at work. Analysts were led to believe that that's because individuals have spent the weekend window shopping among the madness of Black Friday, and rather than use typically slower residential internet speeds, waited until Monday when they were bored at work to buy what they liked over the weekend. Thus, Cyber Monday was created as a way for brands to leverage two things: workplace boredom and convenience of shopping online versus in store during the wild west of Black Friday. Since then, Cyber Monday has steadily grown as one of the major shopping days of the year, with the likes of Amazon and increasingly affordable high-speed internet shops online. Online has become more woven into the fabrics of American lives. Nearly everything can be bought and sold with about one click or two. Today is also commemorated as International Sweater Festival, which is observed annually on the second Friday after Thanksgiving. Whether you love or completely indifferent to sweater vest, you cannot deny that the fashion staple is making a fashionable comeback. And this fashion forward day encourages people all over the world to wear a sweater vest and ask others to do the same. This is why we love the thought of celebrating International Sweater Festival Day. The whole point behind this idea is to connect with others, as there is no other garment that is worn by such diverse groups of people, from hipsters to old people and to those looking to stay warm. Today is also commemorated as National Mud Day on December 2nd. We toast to the mixed breeds of the world, so raise your water bowls high, because this once for the mutts, there is no ifs and or much about it. as we are here to celebrate National Mud Day. Non-profit organization ASPC is established. The American Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is founded to prevent cruelty to animals in 1866. Anna Barbera Productions create fictional dog Muttley, who is a sidekick to cartoon William Dastardly, the Snickering Hound, in 1968. Animal welfare advocate Colin Page started this day to shine a light on the problem of abandoning mixed breed dogs. And that's how National Mud Day is born in 2005. So, National Mud Day is also celebrated on July 31st annually since 2005. Today is also commemorated as Safety Razor Day in US, celebrates the invention of revolutionary low-tech tool that changed the lives of many men. Across the globe, a safety razor is a shaving implement with a protective device positioned between the edge of the blade and the skin to reduce the level of skill needed for injury-free shaving. Safety Razor Day celebrates the centuries-old tool that has been at the center of lasting grooming tradition. This revolutionary low-tech tool has changed the lives of thousands of men across the globe. It continues to do so today in an even finer and smoother fashion thanks to advancements in technology and knowledge. A safety razor is a grooming tool with a protective device positioned between the edge of its blade and the skin to reduce the level of skill needed for injury-free shaving. Also referred to as double-edged razors, safety razors were popularized in the 20th century by King Camp Gillette. Before Gillette's design, several models existed. However, his innovation, disposable, thin, and importantly, inexpensive, became the best-selling version. And it was considered to have revolutionized shaving at that time because before them, most men were reliant on barbers if they wanted to shave, and its invention and subsequent commercialization enabled men who didn't have deep pockets to still enjoy a clean shaven face when they wanted and as frequently as they liked. Although there's a small learning curve in terms of how to perfectly hold the blade to your skin, safety razors produce a far cleaner shave and are less likely to irritate skin like cartridge razors. Because of this, they are considered to be a cut above the rest of as far as grooming is concerned. Today is also commemorated as Skywarn Recognition Day in US, which is on the first Saturday in December, honors the services of all those amateur radio operators who work around the clock to submit information about severe weather patterns, including tornadoes, storms, or strong winds. Such weather conditions could cause severe damage to people's lives and properties. A prior warning by a Skywarn volunteer helps lessen any casualties. The volunteers come from all walks of life and backgrounds. They are specially trained by the National Weather Service, NWS, to be able to accurately report on weather conditions. So, if your day's plans are dependent on the weather outside, tune into the radio to learn more about the weather patterns being reported by Skywarn volunteers. The first Skywarn Recognition Day was observed in 1999. It was created by the NWS and the American Radio Legacy Relay League, ARRL. The two organizations decided that the day would be commemorated on the first Saturday of every December. The NWS is an American governmental agency which focus is to report on usual and unusual weather conditions. They issue warnings and emergencies if the weather is expected to take a turn for the worst. The NWS, which is headquartered in Maryland, Washington, believes it is their responsibility to protect people from harm caused by adverse weather. The American Radio Relay League, ARRL, is another organization that helps NWS receive and report accurate weather conditions. Formed in 1914, it is the largest nonprofit organization for amateur radio enthusiasts. The co-founders, Hiram Maxim and Clarence Kartaska, were both associated with the radio agency. Their interest in the field saw them coming together to create ARRL in order to give a chance to those who were not from the field but still wanted to contribute. The organization provides technical training, education, sponsorships, and assistance to its members, many of whom have gone to volunteer as Kaiwan reporters for NWS. In an ARRL membership is not limited to America, as more than 7,000 members of total 161,000 members belong to other countries. The organization holds several conventions and publishes a special journal called QST. Every year, about 290,000 reports on any weather irregularities. Such reports have worked to lessen the overall damage, allowing people and organizations to save money as well. Today is also commemorated as Special Education Day in US to commemorate the signing of Individuals with Disabilities Education Act into law on this day in 1975, in short known as IDEA. IDEA granted access to children with special needs to free and quality public education. The act has been revised several times, but the crux of it remains the same and is the foundation for special education in the US. In support of this act, many organizations pledged to provide good education to students with special needs. It all started in 1972 with the US District Court lawsuit, Mills versus the Board of Education, filed in the District of Columbia. The denial of publicly funded education for special education, including those with learning disabilities, was ruled unlawful. This case paved for the acts such as Education for All Handicapped Children Act of 1975, approved and passed by President Gerald Ford on November 29 of the same year. The act was the country's first official law addressing special education. States receiving federal funds were required to provide full access to children with special needs. In 1986, the law was revised to include more support for parents and educators and to advance education plans. In 1990, the name of this landmark act changed to the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA. In short, over the years, clauses have been added to address issues and ensure that standards of education for special children are on par with the overall education system. IDEA not only established the rights of children with learning disabilities, but laid the groundwork for teachers and families to grow together and ensure that there are services and resources available for support. Special Education Day started in 2005. IDEA not only established the rights of children with learning disabilities, but laid the groundwork for teachers and families to work together and ensure there are services and resources available for support. Special Education Day started in 2005 on IDEA's 30th anniversary. Day is also commemorated as World Computer Literacy Day, which is celebrated on 2nd December, instituted by NIIT 2001. The day was created in honor of company's 20th anniversary and as a way to increase computer literacy among people, especially women and children. Though computers have become commonplace in our futuristic world, Computer Literacy Day reminds us to contribute our quota towards making computers accessible and easy to understand for those who may struggle with innovation. Today is also commemorated as World Pollution Prevention Day, which is observed around the globe on December 2nd, with eye opening movements like Fridays for Future taking charge. The world today doesn't need many reminders to realize the consequences of climate change. However, it's important to note that each individual has a huge role in the fight against pollution. A clean environment cannot be achieved with the efforts of a selected few. Small acts such as planting a sapling, dumping garbage at the right place, recycling plastic items, etc., are the first step to turning our planet into a sustainable place to live. The day is created to instill awareness on environmental pollution and its negative impacts on our health and the planet. The most hazardous type of pollution that has taken the world by storm is plastic pollution. From degrading soil quality to killing marine life, plastic pollution will soon become a bane to our existence. International organizations such as United Nations, UN, and the World Health Organization, WHO, Greenpeace, and others have been arguing countries all over the globe to take precautionary measures to control pollution. However, the responsibility does not lie only on our governments. Individuals must come forth to make every possible effort to reduce environment pollution. Based on the research and various surveys, it has been estimated that air pollution is posing serious health problems for people worldwide, but it affects those in low and middle income countries the most. In fact, death rates due to air pollution have surged drastically in recent years. Owing to this concern, World Health Organization has imposed strict air quality norms for countries like India, Bangladesh, Qatar, Indonesia, Afghanistan, and Mongolia, to name a few. While most of us are aware of the preventative measures that we can take, we also must enlighten those who are ignorant. People must be familiarized with the fatal repercussions of pollution to make them realize the gravity of the situation. Besides, these measures can start right from your home. So, if you want to create a sustainable future for your kids and the younger generation, don't delay and take action right. The US Congress, in collaboration with the Environment Protection Agency, passes the Pollution Prevention Act, the birth of P2 Act in 1990. Ministers of the environment from countries across the globe come together at the United Nations Environment Assembly to work towards a pollution-free planet, global Congregation for Pollution Control in 2017. World Health Organization hosts the first global conference on air pollution and health in Geneva in 2018. The UN Environment Programme, UNEP, advocates the observance of the International Day of Clean Air for Blue Skies in 2019. Air pollution can severely affect your lungs and cause breathing issues. If not treated in time, it can even lead to fatal consequences. Pollution prevention is not a one man job, it requires collective efforts from every individual. We can start with simple acts like eliminating the use of plastic, choosing to walk short distance instead of driving, use eco friendly materials like wood. Pollution prevention is not a one-man job. It requires collective efforts from every individual. You can start with simple acts like eliminating the use of plastic, choosing to walk short distances instead of driving, using eco-friendly materials like wood, cane, glass, not burning garbage, planting trees, and so on. It's definitely worse than you can imagine. Climate change is real, and as per 2019 World Health Organization report, 99%. If you're looking for a sustainable solution to pollution control, planting trees is what you need to do. It is an age old method and most effective. Go on, make your neighborhood green. Think twice before throwing away those plastic containers and bottles next time. As you know, plastic is non biodegradable and poisonous to the environment, so instead try to reuse or recycle them. Actually, why not stop using the plastic altogether? Instead, opt for cloth bags, glass bottles, wooden or bamboo toothbrushes, and fabric tissues to start with. Today, 8 million tons of plastic waste goes into our oceans every year, causing a huge plastic pollution. In Africa, air pollution kills more people than poor sanitation or malnutrition. Currently, there are around 500 dead zones in the world where no living organism can live. Every year, 1 lakh marine animals lose their lives because of plastic pollution. China tops the list when it comes to carbon dioxide production in the world. The US ranks second. Climate change is the most burning topic of the hour, and it's not something to be dismissed. If we can't save the world single handedly, we can at least do our bit. Pollution is man made and it's killing marine organisms and animals on the land as much as it's killing humans. So it's high time we take charge and reduce, if we not stop further deaths, making a difference in lives in our hands. As much as it sounds depressing, it's true that half of the world is damaged due to pollution. This day reminds us to be more sensible and take precautions to rescue ourselves from the mess we have created. So finally, we are also commemorating UAE National Day, the historic relevance of the occasion and honor those who were the masterminds behind forming the UAE. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, was not always a powerful nation it is today. In fact, the country was distributed into tribal global groups, occupying different areas in 1820. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. So see you all tomorrow at the same time, with the same joining link, with different commemorations. Take care. Good night.